Hey folks, it's Amy from Colorado Mountain Living, and I am standing in front of a bunch of forms here. These are made out of melamine, and we're going to be making concrete countertops. So Bryan spent the past week assembling these melamine forms in order to make our concrete pour for our kitchen countertops. He had done this project before, back when we lived in North Carolina in our old house. It was his first time ever making concrete countertops, and they came out pretty cool. But we are making a couple of adjustments this time around. Number one, making them a little bit thinner because they were pretty heavy last time, and we didn't need them quite so thick this time around. So right now we've been dealing with temporary kitchen counter status using leftover floorboard and having just like 2x4s around the kitchen sink to support it. So we're ready to kind of upgrade and get our official countertops in, and we're looking forward to doing the concrete pour. So this is an installment video, sort of like part one of a 3-part series of how to make our countertops. So this is about making the forms for the countertops, and then we're going to go into the actual pour and the finishing of those countertops and installing them as well. So hopefully you enjoy the series and let us know what you think of this part one installment.
We're going to template before I put the sink in.
Template for the
countertops.
countertops.
Because I haven't put those each of the half spacers in to lay the sink on top of. So those will be in the way to make the template. So I'm going to do the template first.
So what are you measuring exactly? Just the outline of it?
Yep. So I'm doing a 1-inch overhang all the way around. Purdue. It's a little different here because this is off the wall, 3/16 of an inch. So.
Ooh, some big sheets. It's gigantic.
Heavy as hell.
Heavy as hell. And no way to grip them because they're slippery. So you're taking them back outside? Cut them?
Yeah.
Right now he is lining up the templates that he made onto the melamine, clamping it down into place, and then he'll be tracing it out after and then cutting it. Definitely an outdoor job to do. A special blade?
Well, it's just got more teeth. So cut thinner. It's more for rough cutting, 2x4.
Oh, yeah.
To finish in plywood. I cut it long so then I can use this to cut into strips.
Oh, yeah.
Because like here, I'll need a strip that goes 3/4 past, 3/4 past.
Oh, right. One full piece done. This one is for the left of the sink. The big corner. The big Lazy Susan corner. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now we gotta cut out
Little one.
this little guy. This piece is on the left of the right of the stove. And then there's the behind the sink piece, which is gonna be on the other board. So the melamine can be fragile and easy to chip with any kind of excessive bending of the board. So I'm there to pretty much hold on to the piece after it gets cut so it doesn't bend abnormally and cause any kind of chipping or weakening of the melamine, because we definitely need that smooth surface to have a perfect cement pour into it. Second piece up, and the piece that goes behind the sink, an irregular piece with a skinny section, and then a section right there.
So when I made the template was facing up because the surface of the countertop would be up. And then when I actually making the form, I flipped the template over upside down. Makes sense.
It's like
so now when I pour the cement into here, the surface, the up surface of the countertop will be touching this.
Right.
And then when we pull out of the mold, we'll flip it over, and it'll be the right orientation.
Right. It's like making a pattern for a dress.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay.
I don't know anything about sewing, but you do something like that when you're making sewing patterns.
Oh.
So we got our three big pieces, our three main pieces. The rest is just cutting all of the sides to build up.
On the table saw.
Done on the table saw. Okay. So we have to build up the lips, the walls of the forms, so we can pour the concrete into them.
So the countertop's going to be 1.5 inches thick.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll cut the strips 2 1/4.
Mm-hmm.
Because they'll get screwed right into there.
Okay.
So they'll go flush with the bottom, and then there'll be 1.5 inches thick. Last time I did 2-inch thick countertop.
A little overkill.
They were really heavy.
Yeah.
These will still be heavy, but they're not even as big as that other ones we did.
Yeah, these are more manageable for sure.
So square footage is less, plus the thickness of the line.
Maybe I can even help lift it. That's a relief. So.
I'm marking the center of this thing.
Oh. Oh, right, for the fixture.
Yep. So I use a piece of foam. And that's 1.5 inches thick.
Mm-hmm.
And put that right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll just glue it down. I actually just spread some silicone on the bottom, stick it there.
Mm-hmm.
That way when the concrete gets poured around it, and then we just pull the cement or the foam out.
Right.
And we'll have a nice hole. It's way easier than trying to cut a hole through concrete later.
Yeah.
Because there will be some of that wire, concrete wire in there.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, here I'm probably going to put a couple strips of rebar.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's so narrow.
Mm-hmm.
Just to come into here. That way when we're maneuvering it, the concrete itself isn't taking all the load.
Mm-hmm. So you get your strips, and then you put the screw holes along the edge.
Mm-hmm. It's easier to do it ahead of time. You try to hold it alongside here and drill through.
Right. Yeah.
Because I can use that hole as a guide. So I've got my spacer block here. So that's actually 1.5 inches. So, and I put this underneath for better support too, so I can really get that right at 1.5 inches. So then I'll just drill a hole in there. I'll show you.
What's the spacer for?
This is the thickness of the countertop.
Oh, okay.
Because if I just leave it like that, it's not gonna. You might see how it's low there.
Yeah.
So push it down, then drill the hole.
Oh.
So that way I keep evenly spaced. So. Make my drill a little bit longer. Okay.
Nice tight seam.
Then just do that all the way along. And then the next one will go here like this. And so I make sure because this screw is 2 inches long, so I made sure I was out of the way of that screw there. And then I'll put one on the top here.
Mm.
So, right there. That way we'll pull it back that way.
So you cut 45 on that corner.
I did, yes, because if you do something like this, then the melamine is showing. Mm-hmm. Or not the melamine, the particle board's showing, so it'll absorb water.
Oh.
And it could expand and screw it all up.
Mm-hmm.
So this way, I've got
right
that.
Melamine on both sides.
Yeah. And so what I'll do is I'll just put a little bit of silicone over that, just to waterproof it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice little piece. All right, one form done.
Yep.
And the next step is the silicone.
Yep.
All right, folks, here we are with the 3 forms completed. So there's that, the first one, the one rectangle one, and then this is the big one that goes in the corner. So the last step that we're doing before the concrete pour is the silicone sealing. This is what you have to do to seal the crack so you don't get that as a mark, and it helps the concrete to pop out easier.
It gives a There's a little bit of a radius
Yeah, because
to
it's
the edge.
yeah, because it's kind of what Bryan does is he puts a line of caulk there, and then he uses this little special drink stir with a little bulb on the end. It pushes that, smooths it out, and that creates that little bit of a radius, a little bit of a rounding on the corners of the form. So when you're getting your concrete out, it has a rounded look on the edge. So, and then there's one more thing he has to do, which is on the sink part, right here where he marked the center of the sink and where the nozzle goes, the faucet goes. He's got to put a foam block in there and secure that with silicone, so that takes up a negative space after the concrete pour.
After the silicone dries, and I trim it, it will wax the surface as well. Put several layers of wax on.
Oh, okay. I don't remember you doing that last time. Yeah. Oh. What kind of wax do you use?
I just use car wax.
Oh, okay. So you're using a black silicone, is that correct?
Yeah, I do that so I can see it really well, as opposed to a clear or white. Mm-hmm. And you'll see how it'll, when I use the stirrer to make a nice radius and to smooth it, it's going to leave two little strips on this surface and the side surface. And once it dries, then I go with a razor and pull those little strips off.
Because the concrete really picks up any impression that you leave behind. So that's why the main reason why you're sealing the cracks is to...
Yeah, because I also don't want water to go in there because the water will expand the melamine.
Right. You just draw the whole line first and then you use the stirrer? Mm-hmm. All right.
Now, and I have paint thinner here.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm smelling.
Oh, yeah. So the paint thinner keeps it from sticking to the stirrer. Mm-hmm. Too much silicone, and I gotta go over it again.
So you can get your two lines?
Yeah, especially if there's too much on the top, it might fall back down. Mm-hmm. This little ball really works well. I wouldn't try to do it any other way. I think you could probably buy little spheres just for this. But it costs a decent amount of money compared to something simple like this.
Yeah, just a acrylic drink stirrer, summertime version with a fish on top, optional. Seems like 1 can of silicone's plenty.
Should be.
That corner's a little bit open, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what are you doing on this?
So this side butts up against that countertop.
Right.
And I don't want it to have two radiuses like that.
Right.
I want it to be crisp.
Right. So dissolving the radius. Want it to fill the cracks so we don't get the water in it. We don't want the radius, so we're cutting off the excess.
And this surface won't be exposed. But
Right. Did you find some foam?
yeah, exactly 1.5 inches.
1.5 inches. How about that? Good thing we have tons of foam lying around. And you got your 1.5 inch plug right there, foam plug.
Yep. I'm just gonna put some silicone on there. Doesn't need to be pretty. Gonna cover it up by the sink anyway. And then up there.
Cool. That's it. So then the silicone dries, then you peel off these little outer strips.
Yep, I use a razor blade for that.
And that's how you do your forms for your concrete countertops.
Yeah. This is my second go around. I've done them before, so worked out well last time. These would be the last time I did them, I made them 2 inches thick.
Uh-huh.
So the cement, it was super heavy.
Mm.
Took 6 of us to carry. Had to make a frame with 2x4s so everybody could hold a 2x4 to get it into the house. And then we laid it on the cabinets on the 2x4 frame, and then we dismantled the frame, and then we slid the countertop into place.
Mm.
These will be a lot lighter because they're only 1.5 inches and they're not nearly as big.
Right, smaller
That's
pieces.
probably the biggest one there.
Right. So there you have it. We've got all of our forms made right now, and I think this is definitely the most time-intensive of the steps for preparing concrete countertops, is making the forms. They're very, the melamine forms are super duper heavy. I tried to help Bryan carry one, and they're like 75 pounds a sheet without any real grip, so it's super awkward. All of the cutting, all of the joinery, and then the precision it takes to kind of get that silicone just right. And he's still got to go through and trim out the threads of the silicone on the edge. And actually still got to wax down the surface tonight before he does the concrete. So just still one more step to do before we actually do the pour. But the pouring goes really fast. There's a little bit of, mixing. We'll get into that in the next video. But anyway, this is definitely, you get a really good result, but it does take a lot of effort to go through the steps and get a good outcome. So hopefully you picked up a few tips from us if you're thinking about doing this yourself, and just a few details that might help you if you decide to do concrete forms. So let us know, guys, what you think, and if you've ever done concrete countertops before, we'd love to hear about it. All right, and stay tuned. The next video is going to be out soon, and it'll be hopefully on the pouring and what we might do to embed some designs into it. All right, we'll see. Bye-bye, guys.